can last a lifetime, like a lifetime basketball hoop system. Some gifts can break your heart. Others break records, like an Easton Mako torque bat, and strengthen the heart, like a Fitbit Charge HR. Get the athletes in your life a gift that matters from Dick's Sporting Goods. Hurry into Dick's and save 25% on select Nike apparel and footwear. Every holiday season starts at Dick's.
From me to you.
The granddaddy of them all, number 5 Iowa, number 6 Stanford. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Coverage begins New Year's Day at 5 Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Radio.
The topics are hot. The discussion is heated. The First Take podcast starts now.
Hey, here's what's coming up on the First Take Pod. Shannon Sharpe, Hall of Famer, joins the desk to battle Skip. Should the Patriots be scared of Big Ben Steelers and DeAndre Jordan partying with who? You might be surprised after a loss. That and so much more coming up on the podcast.
Guess who came to the party? Just wanted to, first and foremost, let them know who really should be in GQ. I got something for you. No. I'm shocked. This is $50 million. This is a crushing blow. Skip, he's Lord and well poop right now. That changes the whole dynamic. He can't even pick up the phone and call me. People talking here, people talking there. The NFL is about produce. And I'm not talking about the fruits and veggies. Yeah. This lip sparring, Skip, I'm 500-0 in lip sparring.
Hey, it's already started. I know this is a very busy time of the year, so we so appreciate you making time for us here on First Take on this Christmas Eve. Skip Bayless, Molly Karam here with you. Stephen A is off today. Good morning, Stephen A. I hope you're relaxing. I know you're probably not, but we are in good hands. Hall of Famer Shannon Sharpe in the house, fired up. As always, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, Molly's really excited about this. I can tell.
Whatever.
I'm just going along for the ride today, but that's okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
put it on me.
It's almost Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm not Santa Claus, but I'm bringing knowledge today.
Knowledge?
I'm bringing it.
You know what? I have missed you because the depth of your hate for the Dallas Cowboys and for Tom Brady always makes me laugh. So I'm looking forward to laughing a lot today. And I have a prediction.
Okay.
What's that?
Later in the show, when I make my case for why Aaron Rodgers did not deserve to make the Pro Bowl, I am predicting that my man Stephen A. Smith will call this show even though he is off. He's completely out today. Watch, he will call.
Really?
He probably will.
All right, we shall see. You guys ready to work?
I'm ready.
All right, so Shannon said in the meeting earlier, Muhammad Ali invented trash talking. I perfected it. So since we have a Hall of Fame trash talker with us, we need you to weigh in on this Odell Beckham drama. Now, I want to mention that VP of officiating, Dean Blandino, just said on Mike and Mike that OBJ should have been ejected. Beckham's appeal is set for noon today. Shannon, your reaction to this Odell situation?
Skip, bear with me just a second. My grandpa used to always say, son, never let a person know what makes you tick. Because once they find out, they can wind you up and make you tick when they want you to.
It's good. I like that a lot.
And that's what
Smart man, your grandfather.
And that's what Odell Beckham allowed to happen. Watching the game, I'm saying at some point in time, they have to throw him out because they've warned both head coaches, and it didn't happen. And after that, and he kept going, I'm like, what is being said to get him to that point that he's willing to throw everything that he's worked his entire life for away? I tell guys all the time, I don't mind you being selfish. If you want to be Rookie of the Year, you want to be MVP, have at it. Because if you're going to be that selfish and go out and try to achieve those things, it's going to be for the betterment of the team. But never put your individual goals above that of winning. Team goal. At that moment, he became a selfish player, not for the betterment of the football team. And he hurt the team. I was also disappointed that nobody on the team had the courage, had the guts, or maybe had the cachet to go to him and says, okay, Odell, that's enough. You've done enough. If you want to get back at someone the way when people would trash talk me to try to get me out of my game, I score a touchdown. I win the ball game. Then after the game, I get an opportunity to explain myself what happened. There's speculation and innuendo of what was said and how it was said. And that's disappointing because we live in a different time now, Skip. We can't cross those certain lines that you can't cross anymore. And I know trash talking, it's an art form. And once I know what to say to get you out of your game, now you're not worried about catching touchdowns. Now you're not worried about beating my football team. You're worried about trying to injure or harm me. I've got you, and I'm not going to let you go.
Okay. So you were the master of trash talk to me. No one ever got under skin more deeply and more effectively than this man did. I'm going to give you that. So you are the artist talking about this art form that is trash talk. And you just brought up rules of engagement have changed. There are certain lines you can't cross. I disagree with that. And I'm not advocating crossing those lines, but I'm still all about all is fair in love and football or basketball or baseball, whatever high stakes professional game you're playing, all is fair. And in this case, I don't care what line got crossed, what insult was hurled, what slur was aimed at Odell Beckham Jr., you cannot let it sink in. You cannot let it reach that deepest hot button in you that is going to send you completely over the edge.
It did.
That we saw him go over. And there's one way, as you said, to close all the mouths on the other sideline, and that is to catch the first touchdown bomb that was thrown to you perfectly by one Eli Manning, hitting you right there. If his focus had not been on everything but that football at that moment, and he catches it, it shuts every Carolina mouth, I'm pretty sure, because they'd be like, ooh, because he just ran by your man, Josh Norman. He ran by him. I thought Ryan Clark made a great point yesterday. Josh Norman is mostly a zone corner. Didn't have Odell straight solo man all that much in this game.
No.
But the two key times that he did, that play and the touchdown play, Odell just blew by him, man. I mean, it just made him look silly because at every snap I'm watching, because we were all spotlighting the matchup, I'm watching Josh Norman. He is bailing on every snap. Even when he's his own corner, he's like, you see him just kind of shrink it off the line of scrimmage, like, uh-oh. That's how scared he was. But he won the game and won the personal battle because somebody, I don't know if he did it or not, got to Odell Beckham with something that came out of their mouths. So I'm back to what I said yesterday. If I can go back to the old kids' expression, sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never, I'll paraphrase, beat me. Words can never beat me. So, look, I get your point about leadership. Where was the leader? I defended Tom Coughlin on Monday, and then
you can't defend him, Skip.
Okay, but Tom Coughlin, he's desperate. He's on his way to losing 5 out of his last 7 games. He's going to miss the playoffs for his 4th straight year. Is he not coaching for his job in that game? I think he is.
That's why he left him in the ball game. And you heard him say, Skip, when the reporter asked, why did you leave him in the game?
He was honest.
I was trying to win the game.
He was trying to win the game, and he almost did.
And then he said yesterday, well, I'm not really observing individual guys, so I didn't really know all the penalties were on Odell Beckham Jr. Personal foul, number 13 of the offense. Personal foul, number 13 of the offense. Personal foul, number 13 of the offense. Who wears that number for your football team?
He knew exactly what
he knew exactly what it, if you look at Carolina's sideline. Luke Kuechly, Roman Harper, they got him. Josh, enough is enough.
Sure.
Or you look at the other side,
the
position coach.
Who is it?
Nobody.
Is it JPP?
No.
Not after what he inflicted upon himself on the 4th of July.
The officials made the situation worse than what it was.
Okay.
Because they should have thrown him out. If they throw him out, I'm not so sure that he's suspended. But because they allowed it to keep going and he couldn't stop, he had gotten so upset, Skip. Now, winning the game is secondary. Getting back at Josh Norman is primary. And look, we all know, and if you watch film, Josh has a way of poking and prodding and doing things. He slammed Odell Beckham first. Once the officials warned the coaches, once he talked to the players, there's no more talking. The next act, I'm going to have to get control of this ball game by asking you to exit the ball game.
Okay.
It's very disappointing, and we're talking more about this situation, Odell Beckham's situation. The game was great, Skip. It was one of the better games of the year. You get a 35-7 lead, and the Giants score 28 straight points to tie it up, and then Cam goes back down the field and lead to a game-winning field goal. But we're discussing how a man allowed his emotions to overwhelm him. And now we look at him in a totally different light than, say, we did going into
and I'm okay with that. but I'm also okay with taking some blame myself. And yourself and yourself.
What happened?
We're all complicit in this. And your original point about you tell rookies, if you want to be selfish and try to be rookie of the year, I'm okay with that. But ultimately, as you knew, in the end, what I loved about Shannon Sharp's game was, in the end, you were a lot about Shannon, but in the end, you were about your team.
Absolutely.
You were about the W.
Yeah.
You were about the ring, right? In
Yes.
the end.
Yes.
That's old school, new school. New school is mostly about me, me, me. Okay?
Instagram followers,
Okay, thank
Facebook
you.
followers,
Thank
Twitter
you.
followers,
Okay.
and my brand.
Okay, and what have we done for months and weeks and months on this show? We've talked about ODB is now become the best receiver in football. Greatest catch ever, cover of Madden. So we're all enabling him to be the biggest Big Apple star right now,
Skip,
right?
you're mentioning him in the same breath as Jerry Rice.
Hey, I got it. Okay?
He's an unbelievable talent.
And he's still just a kid to me because he came out early from LSU. So and I'm not giving him a pass here, but we all put him on such an early pedestal in the Big Apple in New York City that I think it went straight to his head and he thought he was almost godlike. Like, I'm above all this. And we built up that one-on-one matchup with Josh Norman all week long because I was looking forward to it. I'm sure you were too.
I was, but I also understand Josh Norman doesn't follow the receivers around. He doesn't travel like Patrick Peterson.
Okay.
He doesn't have frequent flyer miles like Darrell Rivers or Chris Harris or Keith Talib.
Or all of them.
He is a guy that basically stays on one side of the field.
Mostly his own
outside.
Mostly
exactly.
is. But I got to say, he has had a tremendous year. Because he has been right place, right time for that team a whole lot. And I take nothing away from his zone cornerness that he plays with.
But you have to understand now, Skip, he's not going to back down. He went at the quarterback in training camp.
Yeah.
So if you take on that guy when you know what he represents,
that's true. The
guy from the opposing team doesn't have a chance.
Yep.
But he's going to have to channel that because now the officials are going to be looking at him, and Odell Beckham Jr. is going to have to worry about this for the rest of his career because everybody's going to try to push that button to get him to act like he did Sunday.
Okay, now back to the news of the day, which is Dean Blandino says they should have ejected ODB. Yep. What did I say? You can attest to this. Yeah. First point I made on Monday morning, if you're going to suspend him, you have to suspend this crew of Terry McAuliffe. Because it's so blatant. They let it quickly get so out of control. You could have thrown more flags. It could have been a double ejection. The Blandino said ejections, plural. So he wanted both thrown out. And by the way, it makes me a little uncomfortable that Dean Blandino has direct communication with the head referee on the field at all times. He can talk in Terry McAuliffe's ear and say, you guys thinking about throwing him out? Maybe you should think a little harder about throwing him out, which always raises questions in my mind.
What else are they talking about?
What else are they talking about? And when that replay gets reviewed, are they still talking about that? I'm wondering.
Yep.
My only question, Skip, is that what was the purpose of the referee talking to Coach Coughlin, talking to Coach Rivera about getting this team under control and allowing it to escalate as it did? If you're going to talk to him, now it's just like baseball. You throw at the guy, the umpire come from behind the plate, he'll point at you, Now, if it happens again, the next guy's getting tossed.
Okay, I get all that. But back to my point about what a pedestal we put not only Odell on, but this matchup on heading into the game.
Yep.
Refs are just human. They read, they hear, they watch. You don't think they knew in the backs of their minds, this is the marquee matchup of the whole weekend. Yep. We can't. We got to let him play.
Yeah, but now he's suspended, he could have been there for Sunday Night Football, maybe, if they had ejected him.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. You can't allow a player or players to become bigger than the game. And by allowing him to do what he did continuously, you allowed him to upstage the game. Because there's no question about it, Skip. He should have been gone in the first quarter.
But I think he had already upstaged the game of football. I'm serious about this. I don't think you're realizing, acknowledging what a pedestal he had already been placed
Skip,
on.
He's a phenomenal talent. I mean, the way the guy can catch the football, he can run the route tree. He's special. I'm going to give him his credit. He overreacted. Now, moving forward, how does he get that? How does he harness that? Because every game they're going to be whispering.
You better be ready from here on, because they know you got what they used to call rabbit ears, man. You got big ears.
It's just like a guy that fumbles the football.
Yep.
They tackle the ball.
I know.
You have to address that problem for the rest of your career. He's going to have to deal with this for the rest of his career.
And this just came down. Josh Norman has been fined a combined $26 grand for 2 offenses in Sunday's win over the Giants, a source telling Jarrett Bell of USA Today. All right, so speaking of those personal accolades, for much of this season, it's been a 2-horse race for the MVP. However, things have gotten much more interesting of late. Cam and Brady still leading the conversation, but Russell Wilson, Carson Palmer, they're now in the mix as well. Cam balled Sunday. We can't deny that. 5 TDs, was the team's leading rusher with 100 yards on the ground. Shannon, did Cam lock it up, the MVP, this Sunday?
I believe he did, because he did something Sunday that had never been done in the 90-plus year history of the National Football League. Throw 5 touchdowns, pass for 300 yards, rush for 100 yards in the same game. He did that. He's passed for 5 touchdowns 3 times this year. I think the record is 4 by Peyton Manning in 2004. And if you look at all the guys' numbers, Carson Palmer's 32 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Cam 33-10. Tom Brady 35-9. So if you look at the touchdown, they're right there. Cam has, I think, 7 rush touchdowns. Carson has 1. I think Brady has 2. But the 14-0 record is undeniable. They went to Seattle. We think Seattle's a very, very good football team, and they beat Seattle. They beat the Packers, who's leading the NFC North division. It's hard to get better than 14-0 when you only play 14 games. So if you look at his body of work, you look at what he's done. Early in the year when we were talking about Cam as an MVP candidate, everybody says, well, he doesn't have any numbers. Look at his completion percentage. Look at his QBR. 33 touchdowns and 10 interceptions is pretty good, with another 7 rush touchdowns, 500-plus rushing yards. See, you just can't look at him as a thrower of the football. He's probably asked to do more than probably these other guys, because if you look at him, he's made Ted Ginn Jr. a viable receiver. I call him 50-50, because there's a 50% chance he catch it, there's a 50% chance he drops it. But as of late, he's been phenomenal. And I'll give the nod to Cam, and I think he sold it up. Because 2 of the last 3 games, his team was behind or tied in the game, and he led them down for a game-winning field goal against the New Orleans Saints 3 weeks ago, and we saw what he did on Sunday. I think it's his.
And it sounds like you have Carson Palmer second, because you kept relegating Brady to 3rd mention in all the stats.
We're splitting hairs. I mean, second, third, it doesn't matter. It's kind of like
over. It's like game over.
Who's Miss Universe? Miss Philippines. First and second runner-up doesn't matter.
Oh, well, speaking of that, I'm going to have to switch the crown at the last second. Yes, I'm going to have to switch the crown.
I get it. Okay.
Look, I keep saying this. I take 0 away from what Cam Newton has done this year, because it is sensational. Yep. This has been his breakout greatness year, where he arrived at greatness, maybe all-time greatness if he can sustain this.
Right.
I wasn't sure up to this point. I was a big proponent of his coming out of college, but I hadn't seen this yet.
No.
And then I saw it. So I give everything that you just said, I give it all high credence. But I got to tell you, as much as I gave in to Stephen A. on Monday, and I said, look, I will give you this. Cam has at least caught Tom Brady. He's at least pulled even with Tom Brady. The more I hear you talk about Cam, the more it ticks me off about how you relegate Brady and what he's done. You just dismiss it and sweep it under the carpet. And I do think, not just in you, but in football in general, there's still a lot of Brady hate over Deflategate, because he was widely condemned as a cheater and a liar over Deflategate.
But
even
not by the fans. Because he was the leading vote getter in the Pro Bowl ballot.
Okay, but I still think when it comes, maybe it's more media, maybe it's more analysts. I just think people would be reticent and hesitant to give Tom Brady the MVP this year after all that went through, because most people would side with the league on this and hope that the league can pull through an appeals process.
But I think before the losses, I think Tom was in the lead.
Okay.
But then you lose to Brock Osweiler, you lose to the Philadelphia Eagles and Sam Bradford.
Yep. Okay.
And Cam has been. But Skip, when you play 14 games, you're undefeated, and your numbers are very similar. How do you give it to the guy that's lost 2 games?
Let's talk about numbers quickly in numbers. Tom Brady leads in passing yards in the National Football League. He leads in passing touchdowns. He leads in touchdown to interception percentage rate.
Yes.
Okay? Because he's 35-6. He leads in passing first downs, and he leads as an offense in offensive points scored per game. Okay, all of which was accomplished behind a makeshift patchwork offensive line that got worse by the snap this year as they mixed and matched injury situation after situation. You know, he lost weapon after weapon after weapon. Dion Lewis to Edelman. Amendola's been in and out, and now he's out again. Gronk was gone for a while. What he has pulled off has been near miraculous to me. Speaking of, in those two losses you mentioned, at Denver, Philadelphia, he almost pulled off miraculous comebacks in both. The drive he put on in Denver to get them to overtime was as great a Tom Brady drive as I've ever seen. And the comeback against Philly, after the disastrous, tumultuous turnovers and returns that they allowed, was spellbinding.
And the 99-yard INT return he allowed.
Okay, but it was a tipped pass that went.
But he threw it. He forced it.
Okay, at the goal line, he threw ball. It was a great play by the defender. The pass was on the money, but the defender, Walter Thurman, tips it up.
But you keep saying the great drive that he led down and almost won. Cam has led great drives, and they won.
No, he has. Okay.
So when you get down to it, Skip, and the numbers are very similar: 35-6, 33-10, 32-9.
Okay.
They're undefeated.
Okay. Do you realize, without me nitpicking here, I can show you 6 Cam games early in the year. If I just go on QBR, they're below mediocre.
Yes.
And they counted. Those games count in what we're talking about right now. So I'm going to have to count those games as I'll give them mediocre at best games. They counted. And when you say deep threats, Tom Brady has no deep threat. I get you. Ted Ginn Jr. is 50-50. He's also 50. No, he's about 75-25. He's going to run by any corner who tries to cover him.
But you know what Tom Brady has that nobody else has? He has the most valuable non-quarterback playing in football, and that's Rob Gronkowski.
When he's healthy.
Yep. He also has the greatest head coach in NFL history.
I could debate that, but
he's the only guy that has the same owner, same head coach for 15 years.
So should that discount his performance?
But you're trying to discount Cam's performance because you said
I can just do it with the numbers. Now you're
did they win?
Yeah, they won 14 times. I can't take it away. Okay.
So what are we debating then?
Okay, we're debating that Tom Brady was not completely at fault for the Philadelphia loss, where he almost brought them back from nowhere. They were completely out of the game. He actually played really well in that game.
Carolina was really led by their defense. Their defense gave up 38 points to New Orleans. 38 points to New Orleans.
Well, 35 to the Giants. For that.
And what you saw Cam on the sideline with the towel on his head. He looked up at the scoreboard.
Yeah.
I got this.
Hey, for the first 9 games of the year, Tom Brady played quarterback on a level I have never seen any quarterback ever play.
But
those count.
But unfortunately, they didn't have the MVP out then. So what has he done the last 5? Look at Cam's last 5 games.
Yeah,
and look at the record. He's unblemished.
So it's what have you done for me lately then?
But here's all you're looking at is Tom Brady's throwing numbers. What about Cam's rushing numbers?
They help. They contribute.
They help? Just help.
Okay. But in the end, I just gave you all those big passing numbers, and they're all better than Cam's. Every one of them. Cumulative numbers for the whole year.
Yes, he's thrown more yards. He has a better QBR. He has a higher completion percentage. But at the end of he has 2 more touchdowns passing. Cam has how many more rushing touchdowns? How many more rush yards? That's a part of their offense.
Okay.
His job is just not to throw the football.
Okay. Who's had consistently the better supporting cast the whole year? Tom Brady or Cam Newton? Cam Newton.
But you know what, Skip? We really can't base it on supporting cast. That's not how you determine an MVP. It's still a stat number. And Cam has the stats to back up that 14-0 resume. I don't know how. Now, look, I think it's going to be close. At one point, maybe the first, 7-8 games, it was probably going to be unanimous, Tom Brady. But Cam kept playing better. Also, Carson Palmer, he threw his name into the hat. Now, I think Russell Wilson has done a little bit too much too late because he's playing phenomenal.
Hey, his last 5 games are maybe the best 5 straight I've ever seen anybody play.
Exactly.
He's worked his way into the conversation.
He has, but I think when it's all said and done, they play Atlanta this week, Carolina Panthers, they play Atlanta, and they get Tampa at home. I don't know how over the last 2 weeks somebody overtaken. I believe
Okay,
it's-
but,
I
but
believe it's one.
look at the degree of difficulty that Tom Brady now has going to the Jets on Sunday. Arch rival in the division, a team that's pretty hot right now, the
He's
Jets.
going against Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Okay, all
he
right.
went against Tyrod
He's
Taylor.
going
he
with,
went against Ryan
with
Tannehill.
No Edelman, no Amendola. Gronk is still gimpy at best and is 50-50 on whether he's going to catch the ball at this point because he's thinking about his lower leg more than he is about catching the football. So what you realize the primary back right now is Joey Iosifa. Joey Iosifa is your primary ball carrier going to the Jets.
You know,
it's like Tom Brady or bust. Tom Brady against the world.
I think because these guys aren't, say, Odell Beckham Jr. or Julio Jones, or these guys aren't Adrian Peterson, we automatically dismiss how good they are in that system. Maybe now somewhere else, they're just guys. They wouldn't be anything. But in that system, they're perfect for what they do.
Okay, this always boils down to this to me. Tom Brady's been great for a long time, so he's always great. It's okay. Let him be. But Cam's having a breakout year, so let's give Cam the MVP. Okay, that's how it always boils down to.
I also think, though, to your point, outside of New England, no one wants to see Brady win this year because of Deflategate, and they hate on him because of the Golden Boy factor. But one thing I want to mention, would give Cam credit. In going into the season, we thought he had no weapons, so he couldn't go this far. Now he has better weapons compared to Brady because they've been decimated by injuries. But initially, we didn't think he had solid guys.
He's throwing to Jericho Cotchery,
who's actually been pretty good.
The Jets didn't want Jericho Cotchery anymore.
I know, but he still makes plays.
The Steelers didn't want Jerico Cotchery anymore.
Okay, but you're underestimating. You're being too hard on Ted Ginn. Listen,
Gronk,
in pads, I think Ted Ginn's the fastest player in the league right now.
Outside of a quarterback, I can make a case that Rob Gronkowski is the most dominant football player.
When he's healthy, I will agree with you.
Non-quarterback, he's the most important player to any team in the National Football League. And he plays with he plays with a Mount Rushmore quarterback, and you can make the case that he's the greatest quarterback.
Yeah.
So you got the greatest quarterback and the most dominant player in football that's a non-quarterback on the same team.
Who's been out, and even after he's come back.
He missed one game.
I know, but if you watch the Tennessee game, he looks tentative on his gimpy leg.
Yeah, he knows that leg is injured.
There were 3 balls against Tennessee that he did not hang on to, that he's not focused on. I don't know. We're going to talk about Des Bryant's miserable year for the same reason. We'll talk about that.
All right, so Team Cam, Team Brady, but we're going to focus on the divisions too, the playoff races, both the AFC and NFC. First, the AFC. Tom Brady has been the toast of the AFC this season, but that big guy in Pittsburgh, he is coming on strong. Should Brady's bunch be worried? Find out next. We'll get into that.
Either way, get it play, I'm a G. Yeah, and I put it on the line, I'm a grind till I shine, on the promise I'm a E.
So, remember when the Steelers and Patriots faced off Week 1 in Foxborough? The Pats defended their home turf in a 28-21 win. Roger Goodell wasn't there. New England holds the top spot in the AFC at 12-2. They've clinched the AFC East and can clinch home field this weekend with a win. Meanwhile, the Steelers are on a tear, winning 5 of their last 6. Their only loss is at Seattle. They now currently hold the last wild card spot. Shannon, who is now the favorite in the AFC?
I think the Steelers are the only team equipped that can score enough points offensively that can go to Foxborough and beat the Patriots. You look at their offense, they have the best offense in football. Big Ben, I think because he's been in and out of the lineup, that's the only reason he's not in the MVP discussion. They have 3 receivers, Skip, that on a given Sunday can go get you 200 plus. Antonio Brown has clearly stepped to the top of the best wide receiver in the National Football League. And then you throw in Bryant, you throw in Wheaton, who's also gone over 200 yards this year. We thought with Le'Veon Bell going down, a 32-year-old DeAngelo Williams, how could he do? He's done more than adequate. The only questions that I have, if the Steelers' offense struggle, is the defense equipped enough to slow Tom Brady down enough? That's my only concern. But I think this is the only team that's equipped offensively because Denver, they have the defense, but offensively they can't. And now with Andy Dalton being out in Cincinnati, I don't know if they can put the pieces together. So I think the Pittsburgh Steelers are the only team, as we sit right now, equipped to go to Foxborough in an AFC Championship game and beat the New England Patriots.
I will give you this. Ben's offense is the most fun to watch going now. It's like it's a circus.
Who has a better offense?
When healthy, New England does.
Yeah, we can't do it.
Okay, but well, I've got now 4 weeks to play with, basically. Well, maybe, yeah, I got a month to play with here.
How has Dez looked with that same injury that Julian Edelman has?
Well, that's a fair point. But Edelman has now been out, I'm losing track, I think it's 7 weeks. And if you give him another 4 until they have to play that second-round playoff game at home. Now, again, he's obviously not going to play at the Jets. I still think they need to win the game at the Jets. And I think they can without him and without so many other players. But you let them win that and cash in on home field throughout and then get to take off the final week at Dolphins and then get another week off, then they're going to start to get healthy. Devin McCourty needs to get healthy at safety. But my point is there's only one team that can beat the Patriots in Foxborough, and that's the injury gods. Just the injury gods. That's it. Period. End of story. If they all get reasonably healthy, and I don't know, we're talking about the Jones fracture that Dez suffered with all year, that Kevin Durant suffered with and needed 2 more procedures to get right in Oklahoma City, obviously, and it looks like he finally got it right now. But it's a tough one to come back from. Okay, but my point is this. The Steelers rank in pass defense 31st.
They do.
So if I go back to opening night at Foxborough, it was 28-21, and it wasn't that close. New England won that game fairly handily, and Brady went for 288 and 4 touchdowns without an interception.
Steelers missed 2 field goals.
They did, but I still think it didn't feel that close to me. It felt like more of a 14-point game.
No Martavius Bryant was in that game.
All right, that could help. But listen, Malcolm Butler has emerged not just as a good player, he's a star now.
You saw what Antonio Brown did to Malcolm Butler opening night.
Okay.
And the Steelers have a new kicker now.
They do have a new kicker. That's a fair point. You know what? I don't think Antonio could do that to Malcolm Butler this time. What? He is so feisty and such a ball hawk and such a competitor, and he's so quick, and he's getting better by the game where he's starting to figure out how to do it. When to go and when not to go, when to gamble and not to gamble. I think he could at least slow Antonio down a little bit. I don't think he'd go for 10 and 200.
What about those other 2?
Logan Ryan's pretty good at the other corner. And this, listen, here's the other point. And I know Ben can shrug off pass rushers, but do you realize that the New England Patriots are now tied for the NFL lead in sacks? Yeah. Tied for the lead? That's pretty impressive.
They are.
And this defense
is surprising.
It is. They're tied for sacks because they come from everywhere. They got inside rushers, they got Ninkovich, and they obviously got Chandler Jones. And in the big picture, they're also number 1 in opponents' QBR. So they are holding the opposing quarterback to the lowest performance in the NFL. Quietly, just quietly. Nobody really talks about them, but they're pretty good.
The biggest addition to their defense, and we can talk about Malcolm Butler, ascension. Chandler Jones has been Chandler Jones. Jabal Shear.
He's
the guy
really
that got from the Cleveland Browns.
Hard off the edge, man.
He is the guy that's changed because he can go get home when they need pressure. And they say, well, it's going to be a one-on-one. We need someone to get home.
Yeah.
And every team to be elite defensively has to have that guy. You have to have a guy that when it's 3rd and 3 or if it's 4th down and we need a big play, he's the guy can go get it. And you pair him with Chandler Jones and Ninkovich.
Okay, so I don't think Ben can throw a party at Foxborough. I don't think he's going to have enough time just to stand back there and say, whose turn is it? I think I'll throw to Martavis this time.
He went to Seattle and put almost 500.
Well, in those days, Seattle was giving up 500, it seemed like, to everybody.
No. Back then, they've been on this roll. And it started with the Steelers that they got on this roll, and Russell Wilson all of a sudden started looking like Tom Brady. If you look at it right now, Skip, all things being said, I don't think Denver can do it. I don't think, obviously, the Texans it's going to be the Steelers. It's either the Steelers can do this or the Patriots are going back to the Super Bowl again representing the AFC.
Okay, if they get 75% healthy in their weaponry, if Edelman can come back and look remotely like Edelman, Amendola, Gronk, you can't beat this team in Foxborough. You saw what happened to Indianapolis the last couple of years. They just get wiped out in Foxborough.
The thing is with Edelman on that foot, he's a stop and start guy.
He is.
And that's really hard when you're dealing with a foot injury. Can he be what he was before he left?
I don't know.
That's asking an awful lot for a guy that doesn't have getting out. Yeah, I heard he's practicing now, but practicing is one thing. guys putting hands on you in game live situation, being tackled is something entirely different. It'll be a very interesting matchup, but I think the Steelers are the only team. And considering I didn't even think they could make the playoffs, considering that Le'Veon Bell was suspended 2 games. But they got some wins. They got wins from Michael Vick and Landry Jones.
They did.
That's the only reason they're in this. This is the only reason they're in the mix.
Okay, I'm going to say this one more time. I do believe if it comes down to this, and it well might, that Malcolm Butler has gotten so much better that he can at least make Ben sweat when he looks to the security blanket that has been Antonio. Because when Ben's in trouble, he just looks for the little man. He just looks for it's unbelievable.
The only guy that I think right now could shut Antonio Brown completely down in his prime is 21 from the Cowboys. Malcolm Butler can't
shut anybody down.
Malcolm Butler can't do anything with it. The way Antonio, I've never seen anything with him. The guy has 2 16-catch seasons.
Okay.
A 284, a 180. The guy, if Ben had been there the entire season, you're talking about 2,500 yards, maybe 200 catches.
Yep. Okay. But I'm here to say, as blasphemous as this might sound, I don't think the Patriots have badly missed Darrelle Revis. Not badly, not desperately. And
they could spend that $70 million elsewhere and build a complete team. No question about it.
And by the way, the Patriots definitely haven't missed the other corner named Brandon Browner.
And I got nothing to say.
You got nothing to say about Brandon Browner, who has now set the record for most penalties ever recorded in a season?
Brandon,
as a Saint?
I got nothing but love for you, bro.
Nothing but love? No trash talk from the ultimate trash talker? Wow.
He's retired.
I'm retired.
Okay. All right, so you either have the Steelers or the Patriots coming out of the AFC.
Yes.
And then Skip, you have the Patriots, but there's an asterisk if they're healthy.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to get into the NFC later. That one I'm interested as well. Who's catching Carolina?
The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Iowa completed its first ever 12-win season and was 1 win away from the playoff. Stanford won the Pac-12 championship and was in the playoff conversation until the final week. It's the first ever meeting between the two. Number 5 Iowa, number 6 Stanford. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Coverage begins New Year's Day at 5 Eastern on ESPN and on ESPN Radio.
There's a steal by Chris Paul. He'll go to score. Clippers lead. Chris Paul with a steal and the basket. What a play by Chris Paul.
Thunder trailing by 1, 99-98. 8 seconds. Thunder steps right, pulls up top. Hang right, 18-foot jumper drop. Thunder lead by 1. Kevin Durant rises, rips the chorus. 199 Thunder with 5.8 seconds left. Paul dancing, pulls up from the wing. Arcs 15 for the block. Thunder win! 199! Surge denies, plus Paul at the horn.
That one didn't disappoint. Monday night, the Clippers hosted the Thunder. 5 lead changes, as you just saw, in the last 48 seconds. Advantage KD. Kevin Durant hit the game winner in a 1-point thriller at the Staples Center. But after the heartbreaker, DeAndre Jordan was able to rebound, hitting up the club. Not with his team, but OKC's squad. According to a video from TMZ, DeAndre Durant, Russell Westbrook, and some other OKC players went out in Hollywood. Skip.
Molly.
Do you have a problem with this?
Molly, Shannon Sharp, I cannot tell you how disgusting I find this.
Why?
It just makes me sick. I'm old school on this. I'm going to guess you're pretty old school on this. But especially during the season, your friends on the other team are nothing but your enemies. And especially after Russell Westbrook has hit a big late 3 in your building, and especially after Kevin Durant has hit the game winner in your building, and your Clippers have fallen to 16-13 at Staples at the hands of these Oklahoma City Thunder, you do not meet those two at the club. Henry's in Hollywood.
You love Henry's.
Henry's in Hollywood. You know, for all of TMZ to see. And I'm going to remind both of you, last summer, all of DeAndre's teammates, or all the important ones, flew to Houston, Texas to re-recruit DeAndre away from the Dallas Mavericks. And they should have left his behind in Dallas. That's what they should have done. Because He got 4 years, guaranteed $87 million. I know once upon a time you deserve that kind of money. 4 years, $87 million. That's 22 guaranteed million a year for 4 years. It's a lot of money. I mean that's beyond NFL quarterback money, right? And to do that right now, you are 4th in the NBA in free throws attempted. You are 45th in free throws made. Do the math on that. 4th in attempts, 45th in free throws made. So you are making a guaranteed $87 million right now over 4 years to make 39% of your free throws and to become the biggest free throw liability in the NBA. You were the reason that your team lost last Friday night against my Spurs in San Antonio because Pop said, as he got desperate late third quarter, you know what? I got to do it. I hate it, but I got to do it. I'm going to foul that guy, and I'm going to foul him until he can't see straight because he couldn't see straight because he could barely see the rim. He's going to make 39% of those attempts, and my Spurs climbed right back in the game and slowly pulled away. This is the man who went out to party with his rivals, who just beat his behind on his home court. He showed you exactly what he is and what he is not, which is why I said last summer, I think it was your first show with us in L.A. at the ESPYs. I said that day, I don't have much use for him. He's not worth nearly this much money, and this is yet another smaller reason why he's not worth it.
I don't begrudge any player making the amount of money because you're only worth what they're willing to pay you. He's making that money as the third best player on his own team. It's a different time now, Skip. I am old school. It's a different time now. There was a time when that was frowned upon. That was unheard of. But now these guys play AAU ball. They've known each other since they were 10 years old. The problem that I have is that when you go out to a club, and we know how fans are, they live and die. It's almost like they're playing the game. You get a Clippers fan that's in there, a couple Clipper fans that's in the game, and they say, well, if you weren't in the club, you should be practicing your free throws. DeAndre Jordan's going to get upset probably. It's just the look that it portrays. I get it. The game's over. There's nothing else you can do about it. But just the look that it presents. I've had friends that I played against, and football is different because, once the game over, Skip, you shower, you do your interviews, and you get on the plane, you go back home. I guess in basketball, you linger around and you can go out, and then they travel to the next city that night, later in the night, or the next day. I get that. But that's not the look that I want to project. You're not, after you just beat me, we're not friends. We're not going to the club together. I get it. I get it. It's a different time now, but I think there's something to be said that I feel some type of way that you beat me, and now I can put that past these two guys. These are the main two reasons that we lost this game. One hit a big three, and the other hit a clutch jumper at the end. And now you're going to think we're going to be homies? No, we can be homies in the off season. We can go to a pool party. We can go to Henry's or whatever the name of the club was. We can go clubbing all we want to.
I love Henry's. I hang out at Henry's.
You do? Oh, I'm definitely going to be there then.
But during the course of the season,
you got it.
We're not going to be friends.
Timeout. It's regular season, though, guys. It's not the playoffs. It's the regular season. It's a long NBA season.
Does it count?
Yes,
it counts. Could it put you down the seeding bracket at the end?
It gives you a better chance of not facing San Antonio and Golden State in the first round and going home, as opposed to possibly winning a first round matchup and seeing them in the second round. Because you're going home either way. It's either the first or the second round. But it's just the look that it gives that, I'm a little disappointed we lost, but not so much that I'm not willing to be able to go hang out with Russ and Durant. That's not.
Remember, think about the reality of the situation. This is going to require this rendezvous. It's going to require. Well, think about
coordination.
It's going to have to be coordinated. So it's going to require that you're going to meet in the hallway between the two locker rooms, and you're going to check signals. Say, where do you want to go? I'll meet you. What time are you going to be there? Or you're going to have to text with each other. Right. Hey, meet me at. I know a good. Let's go to Henry's, because the Thunder's. They're not going to know for sure. They're not going to know. Let's go to Henry's. So I assume that the party planner would have to be DeAndre here. Am I right about that? Who's the party planner? Am I right about that?
But it's just a look, because like I said, here you are shooting 39% of your free throws. People are fouling you. I saw one game he went 12 of 34. I think that was the most attempted free throws since Wilt Chamberlain, and you hit 12 of those, and you got timed up. Look, you can't work on your game 24/7, but I just think the look that it gives, that hanging out with with these guys after they beat you, I just don't like the appearance of it.
Listen, these contracts are so guaranteed as opposed to NFL contracts that, to your point, his mentality is your mentality. He's thinking, it's just it's our, what would it be, 29th game of the year? Who cares? You know, we got a long ways to go. I don't care. He's golden, man. He's going to get $87 million over the next 4 years. Do you think he really sweats losing one game at Staples on game 29? He doesn't.
And probably, Skip, because we play 16 games, they play 82, so that's like 5 games to them. Baseball, that's like 10 games to them. Every game to us is so important. You know, all of a sudden, a game here or a game there, and you're out of the playoffs. A game here or a game there, probably not going to have an impact on the, say, basketball or baseball schedule, but just the appearance of, I'm hanging out with 2 guys that my team lost to, and these 2 guys are the main reasons that we lost.
Yeah.
I'm not walking into a club with you. I'm not walking to sit down to dinner with you. In the off season, once it's all over, I got no problem. If you want to meet in the Bahamas or Jamaica or wherever.
If DeAndre says, come to my crib after the game, you know, I'm okay with that. I'm better with that. At least don't do it public. Don't shame your fans in public when it gets on TMZ. Is that fair? Come on.
I tell you what, one of my best friends, Ray Lewis, I had gone back to Denver. You know what he did? He had somebody prepare a meal for me and my teammates. He didn't show up. He had a meal prepared. We went by, got what we wanted, got on the bus, and left.
Wow.
I would like to think that Ray and I's friendship is a little different than probably DeAndre, Russ, and Durant.
I would hope so.
But that's the way we handled it.
No, I got it.
Hall of Fame friendship.
And that was the day of the game?
That was after the game. After the game.
Okay, after the game.
He paid for someone to cater us a meal. For all the team. And we went by and under the tent, got what we wanted, got on the bus. But Ray Lewis didn't show up.
Who won? Do you remember?
They won.
Of course you remember.
They won.
So you guys aren't going to be texting later? You're not going to Cadillac Ranch in Bristol to meet up? Because you're kind of against each other.
We're frenemies.
Oh, okay. So you can relate to it.
I'm meeting up with Delta.
I got you. Holiday week, we appreciate you making time.
Cam Newton takes. Pays back. Cam Newton towards the pass. Olsen in zone. Caught. Touchdown. Yes! Yes! The double move down the center of the football field. Beats the cover 2. Yes! Olsen gets behind the secondary. Yes!
My favorite time of the year for more reasons than one. Let's focus on the NFC now. Seattle getting hot at the right time, winning 5 straight. They're hopeful Marshawn Lynch will be back for the playoffs. But it's hard to believe they're currently 5th in the NFC, though, at 9-5 behind Arizona, Green Bay, and Washington. Carolina, of course, still perfect at 14-0 in the top spot. Shannon, we talked earlier about the Steelers being a threat to the Pats. Now, should the Panthers be concerned about Seattle?
Everybody should be in the NFC, should be very concerned. Sometimes injuries are looked at as a curse, but in this case, it was a blessing. When Marshawn Lynch got injured, it forced Seattle to rely more on Russell Wilson to throw the football. They didn't know what they had with Rawls. They didn't know he could be what he became. And so they put more of the game plan built around Russell Wilson throwing the football down the field. Skip, I didn't see this coming. I thought he could be a good quarterback, thought he could be a very good quarterback, but I didn't think he could throw the ball like this from the pocket because we had really never seen him do it.
Nope.
They were pound the football with Marshawn Lynch, let him do a little zone read, he take off running, play action pass you, hit Doug Baldwin a curse down the field. We're going to play great defense. Now they're allowing him to throw the football 30 times, 35 times a game.
Well, they have to.
And he's rewarded them. So with this added dimension to the game, him being able to throw the football and Doug Baldwin playing like he's Jerry Rice, I think the Carolina Panthers should be very, very concerned. I know Carolina went to their building and beat them earlier in the year, but this is a different football team now.
I hear what you're saying. I am so with you on Russell Wilson. I'm going to remind everyone, he's an inch shorter than Johnny Manziel, and he is standing flat-footed in the pocket time after time after time. I don't know how he finds his throwing lanes, but he knows how to find them now.
And he gets very few balls batted. You notice that?
Very few. I don't know. And he doesn't have some 6'8" guy at tight end anymore.
Exactly.
You know, and Jimmy
that might
Graham.
be a positive, too.
I guess
that was.
I guess so.
That's not a shot at Jimmy Graham.
They were trying. It was like the item was on sale, and you're like, I got to get it.
Yeah.
And then when you buy, you're like, why did I buy this?
It's not working.
Because it was only on sale.
Yeah.
And that's what they were trying to find ways to get Jimmy. And it was taking Russell out of his game. Jimmy Graham is a finesse player and a power offense. So, but now he's gotten injured. Marshawn Lynch is injured. Now he has to stand in the pocket, throw the football to those other guys.
So let me get this straight. So the team that got to the 2 previous Super Bowls with the Legion of Boom defense in beast mode is now riding the coattails of the little quarterback standing in the pocket throwing passes to the little receiver.
Yes.
Not that Doug Wald's little, but he's not Calvin Johnson.
Yes.
Yeah, an undrafted free agent. Really? That's what it's come to, and it is working like crazy. I'm not saying that the boom has gone completely out of Legion of Boom, but they have not been quite what they were the last 2 years. So, all that said, I'm going to flip your argument for MVP back at you, because if you tell me that Cam Newton is hands down the MVP of this league, and you're telling me that they are only going to have to win 2 home games to get to the Super Bowl, one of them, maybe the first one against Seattle, I just think they're going to win that game, because it was huge for them psychologically after all the trouble that has been caused for Cam Newton by the Legion of Boom to go up there, even though he didn't blow them out. It went to the last play, 36 seconds left, down the seam, and obviously Richard Sherman thought somebody was doing something else. I don't know what they were doing, but they miscommunicated, and nobody covered Greg Olsen to my eye on the play. They let him run right up the seam for a Shannon Sharp Memorial easy touchdown, right? Was it not?
They'd have never let me that wide open. They'd have like 5 guys.
Yeah, okay, well, that's true. But you would have looked open by the end of the play.
And what's more amazing is that the one guy that you would think they would cover would be Greg Olsen, because he still is Cam's favorite guy. And he's the one guy that they let run scot free.
Okay, but that made it 27-23 Cam Newton, and you can't tell me that psychologically that was not huge for a football team that feels to me like it's on a meant-to-be roll this year. The mojo is hot and heavy in Carolina. I don't know, you get that, you've been on teams where it just started cooking, you know, like everything starts to fall into place. And every time you need a break, you get a break, and you make a lot of breaks, and there's always some big, like, soap opera issues that are pro-Carolina, like Odell Beckham should have been ejected in that game, right?
Well, Skip, in 97, we lost to Kansas City. We lost that game. They ended up winning the division. 4 weeks earlier, we had lost to Pittsburgh. So to go to the playoffs, we had to go to Kansas City. We beat them, who had beaten us. Had to go back to Pittsburgh for the AFC Championship game in that building where they had just beaten us.
I remember.
But we always felt that we were the better team.
Sure.
We felt if we took care of the football, they couldn't beat us. Seattle, you know how they think.
You think they still think they're the better team?
They do. They do. In their hearts, in the back of their minds, they feel they are a better football team.
Do you know how lucky they were that ref blew that call at the end of that early Monday night game against Detroit in Seattle that awarded Seattle a game? That hole could have been dug so deep for them, they'd still be trying to claw out of the hole. So they also have to know in the backs of their mind, they haven't been right all year. They also have to know, and I'm going to sound like my man Stephen A. Smith here, but there are lingering bitterness issues with the head coach and the coordinator over that final play of the Super Bowl, where they never quite got right. They never quite cleared the locker room air. There's still a little haze hanging over that football team.
Oh, you'll never get over that. No matter what's said, you can take the bullet. I'm the head coach. Well, I'm the offensive coordinator. I made the call. Russell Wilson says I have the utmost. You're never getting over that, Skip. You can win 2 more Super Bowls, but you'll remember you were on the 1 yard line and you made. There's no question. It was the dumbest decision in Super Bowl history.
I loved it.
I
loved it. Yeah, Malcolm Butler loved it. It launched him into stardom. Malcolm Butler.
It gave him supreme confidence, and I think that was one of the reasons that Coach Belichick felt really comfortable in allowing Darrelle Revis to leave, because that play, you make that play at that moment on that stage. What does that do for your confidence? But he's on a team that they're not going to allow him to get too big.
Okay.
Yeah, you made that play now, but whoa.
All right, that's true. Okay. So now we're down to Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Will he or won't he ever get healthy this year? I'm not sure about that.
Yeah.
So that brings us to Kristen Michael.
Yep.
formerly of my Dallas Cowboys,
What's
a reject by Seattle, now is back, and he's not only back, I think he's going to be in the starting lineup for the foreseeable future. Kristen Michael, so that's all you got? Because Rawls obviously gone. We're iffy at best about Marshawn.
If they win, Skip, it's going to be on the arm of Russell Wilson. I don't believe they can run themselves like they have in years past to a Super Bowl. If they win, it's going to be on the arm of Russell Wilson. And I think he's shown. That's why they gave him that money, Skip. You give a guy $18, $19 million, you're not giving him that money to turn around and hand the ball off.
No, it's not DeAndre money, but it's pretty good, right?
But to be clear, you're both taking Carolina, but we think Seattle's a threat.
I don't know. I think you're heading toward Seattle.
Arizona, any concern for you?
I have to see. I would have to see the last two games how Carolina plays, and if they don't get anyone seriously nicked. That's going to be the huge, because these games here, they're playing for. I think they're going to go for it. I really think they're going to go for the 16-0 because you're trying to get an opportunity to do something special.
Okay.
Now, that's not the end-all be-all goal. Your goal is to win the Super Bowl, but in the process, if I can have, I like the cake, but if you're going to give me cheesecake, if you're going to give me pie, you're going to give me ice cream, I'm going to take that too.
You don't eat that stuff.
No, but I'm just saying, I want the cake. But if along the way I can get 16-0,
you're going to eat it too.
I'm not going to eat.
I'm not turning.
I know you guys.
Skip, I'm not turning 16-0. I'm not turning down 16-0.
Okay,
if I got you 14-0, Skip, you got Atlanta and you got Tampa. Now, if you lose to Atlanta, I mean, but you're gonna still have to play because there's something to play for. Because Arizona could still mathematically catch you and be the number 1 seed, and you don't want that to happen.
If Cam goes home to Atlanta and beats the Falcons, which I believe he will,
yes,
and they're 15,
you got to go for it.
Okay, what would you rather have, 15-1 or a Super Bowl?
I'm too close, Skip. I'm too close.
You'd rather have a Super Bowl.
I would rather have a Super Bowl, but think about it. You can't play scared. You cannot play that way. I never went on the field thinking that I was going to get injured. Now, I went on the field and I got injured, dislocated my elbow, broke my collarbone, fractured my eye socket, but I didn't think those things were going to happen. Skip, you're this close. You might not ever get this. Skip. There's no guarantee if you go 16-0, 15-1, you're going to win the Super Bowl anyway.
No guarantee.
So,
all right,
I'm here.
Okay, last quick thought. Yeah. You brought up Arizona. The injury to Tyrann Mathieu. It was just psychologically debilitating to that football team. He was the best player on that defense. He was the playmaker, and to watch him go down on a non-contact interception at the end of a blowout in Philadelphia is just crushing psychologically.
Terrible. And we all wish him a speedy recovery as well. It's terrible. Yeah.
And he tore the left knee in 2013.
Yep.
Rehabs his way back.
He's a terrible break.
And I think he's going to be an all-pro safety.
Sure.
And now the right knee, he's going to miss the playoff. I mean, his story about how he came to prominence at LSU kind of threw it all away, had to go into the draft. It's been a remarkable story. He's been spectacular since arriving in the National Football League, and I really hope a speedy recovery.
Yes, all of us. No question. We'll leave it there. And we've got a little tweet here from Stephen A. Smith. He said, special thanks to my man Shannon Sharp for filling in today on First Take. Yes, thank you, of course, Shannon. And to Real Skip Bayless and Molly Karam, I'm great. I'll see you guys in the AM.
Oh, really? Well, wait. He better be watching. When are we going to get to this topic? Is it next? About Aaron Rodgers?
We're Des next.
Oh, Des.
It sounds like he doesn't want to call in.
Stephen A.
We want to hear from you.
Wait for that Aaron Rodgers topic.
Oh, gosh. It's going to go off the rails. No control today. Des Bryant simply hasn't looked the same since his Week 1 foot injury, and Jerry Jones was asked on 105.3 The Fan yesterday if Dez's season has been a disappointment, and here's what he said.
There's no doubt it's disappointing for Des. He's got very high expectation and a very high bar for what he needs to be doing to help win ball games.
All right, Skip, how much of a pass does he deserve?
A little, but not a lot. Look, I'm a big Des fan. Molly can attest. Before the year started,
you're a Cowboy fan,
but I was campaigning for this man. I was campaigning for this man to get his money, and he finally did.
Yep.
He also got the cover of Rolling Stone, which I thought was
huge.
Was fitting. It was big crossover. He had arrived as a big star, a national star, just not just a Cowboy Nation star. And obviously, as we all know, early fourth quarter, game number 1, opening night, Jones fracture, the Kevin Durant injury that required 2 more procedures for Kevin to get right. And Dez pushed it, came back probably prematurely on it. There's an old adage, if you can play, you should be able to make plays. And that's how you played. If you're healthy enough to drag yourself out there, then I should expect you to make some plays. And Dez didn't make enough this year. And worse for me, he just ripped my guts out with how many plays he left on the football field with drop after drop after drop after drop. And I start with that game at Tampa. Remember, this team is hanging in the NFC race by default, all the way down to the robbery that was last Saturday night against the New York Jets.
Called the Saturday night robbery, in case you didn't know.
Went down in history
Yeah,
as
it did.
one of the
He's
biggest robberies.
He's taking it to his grave, in case you didn't know.
Saturday night
He's catching
robbery.
you up.
But the point was, they're on the cusp of being in the race on last Saturday night against the Jets. So give me just one win, Dez. And I believe Dez Bryant dropped a couple of wins that they could have had. At Tampa, there was a big third down late in the game. He just flat out dropped a pretty good throw from Matt Castle. Then the last play of the game at Tampa Bay for the Cowboys, Hail Mary into the end zone. I'm not a big Matt Castle fan, but he threw a pretty good Hail Mary. And I'm thinking, Dez, go for the football. And he shied away from it as if he didn't think he could any longer jump off the Jones fractured foot. Mm-hmm. But you got another one. You can be a one-legged jumper, as they say in basketball. You can jump off one leg and dunk, okay? And he didn't make a play for that ball. Then we know what happened at Green Bay. Early in that game, they have a chance to go up 7-0. It's misty, raining. Ball's a little slick. Matt Castle throws it high and hard at the goal line. This is Dez Bryant we're talking about. And if you get 2 hands on a football, Shannon Sharp catches that football. And Dez Bryant did not hang on to that football. I'm not going to call it a cold drop, but he did not hang on. And then we know the rest of the game, he dropped pass after pass. He ripped the heart out of his team in a game that the defense was hanging in against Aaron Rodgers and I thought could have won. Then the other night, Saturday night, robbery night. Early in that game, Matt Castle threw a flat pass to him down near the goal line. They're driving for an opening score. And the ball looked catchable to me. It's just right here, like a little sort of quick out pass. And if Dez catches the ball and turns, I think he has a chance to score and make it 7-0. And I don't even know. It's like he didn't even make a play for the ball.
You didn't like the effort.
Like, well, what are you doing, Dez? Come on. You're my guy.
Taking plays off.
And then at the end of that game, and I know this is as Hail Mary as you can get, and it wasn't even into the end zone, but little Kellen Moore hauls off and throws him a pretty sweet deep ball. There are 3 Jets around him, but this is Dez Bryant, 6 feet 2 inches by 230 pounds. This is the kind of ball that he owns. This is the one he puts in his back pocket. And if he does, I got a shot. I got a shot at tying the game again and sitting in overtime. And he kind of shies away from it like, well, I can't try for balls like that because I'm hurt. Well, if you're hurt, let Terrence Williams jump for the ball or somebody else. But he kept going out there. God bless you for that. But by his standards, even injured, it was a miserable year. So I'm going to give him a little pass, but not a big pass.
He gets no pass from me.
Okay.
And the mere fact that you're pinning your hopes on Matt Ice Cream Castle, hashtag melts with heat.
Yep.
And you still thought the Cowboys were going to get into the playoffs with no Romo. Skip, even when you're injured, the fans forget that. They forget that the guy had surgery after the first week. I've been in that situation, having to have my knee drained and having to take injections in my ankle and my ribs and my shoulders. And sometimes my own coaches that saw me getting these procedures done forget how banged up I was. And they're like, well, son, you got to make that play. And I'm like, even your teammates, you're in the huddle. They've seen you get 50 cc's of fluid drained up your knee and then they say, Sharpie, we need you to make a play.
Okay.
Those are the expectations.
Is that unreal expectation?
No, because you know why? Even though I was banged up, I was still limping upstairs to get a check. And if I get a check, and if I go out there, they're expecting me to make plays. I'm expecting me to make plays. So I'm not going to I'm from the school of thought. If you don't make any excuses, you won't have to give any excuses. Did you or did you not make the play? That's all I need to know. Don't tell me anything. I'm healthy. No, the healthiest you'll ever be is the day you report to training camp. From that point on until the season's over, nobody in the National Football League is healthy. Some are more nicked than others. But if you go out there, there's an expectation level that I have for you and for myself that you ought to be able to make plays. And if you can't make those plays, sit down.
Okay.
You got to be man enough to say, I got to sit down today. And there are times that maybe I should have taken a seat.
Okay.
But they framed it like this. Shannon, we probably know you shouldn't play, but you all we got. They played on my emotions because they knew what I was thinking. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted to hear that one time that you were counting on me. I knew you were counting on me, but I wanted to hear you say it one time. That was all I needed.
Okay.
And so I went out there, and I'm gonna give you everything. I'm not gonna make any excuses. Man, my knee, my ankle, my ribs, like I got partially separated shoulders. They don't want to hear that. The fans don't want to hear that. And that's all I ever played for. The only thing, Skip, I ever played for. I played for my teammates' respect, my coach's trust, and the fans' appreciation. And I played for them in that order. My teammates respected me because they knew I gave them everything I had. My coaches trusted me because they knew I was where I was supposed to be. I was doing what I was supposed to. And the fans appreciated the effort that I gave to them every Sunday. That's all you can ask for. And Dez doesn't get a pass from me because if you can't go, if you can't you're not helping us being out here, when Dez is out there. If you're not making plays, what are you doing? You are a big play receiver. You are a top receiver. You're counting on to get the ball into the end zone. You're counting on to make crucial throws. And what makes it worse is that when you see him on the sideline and with some of his antics, and they throw him the ball and he drops it. Well, if I'm throwing you the ball and you throwing them back at me, what good is that? And you mentioned the Tampa, big drops. I saw him in Green Bay. He jumped for a ball in Green Bay that's going to hit him right between the 8 and 8. And he catches it in his crotch and he drops it. I'm like, Dad, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Why are you jumping for a ball?
Exactly what you're talking about.
Now, the biggest thing is that playing with injuries is that you got to get over that mental hurdle. Now, the fans don't know you're hurt, or they forget that you're hurt. Your coaches and teammates will forget that you're hurt, but your body won't forget. You know that there's a foot problem or ankle or knee or shoulder. You know that, but somehow you got to get to a place where you can block it out and still be that guy, the guy that your teammates counting on, the coaches and the fans are counting on to make those plays. He gets no pass from me.
So if you were a teammate of Dez's this year or a coach of Dez's, after at least 3 games, would you not have been supremely disappointed in your play?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. Absolutely.
I don't even care about the fans, and I am one. It's clearly I'm disappointed. I'm distraught over Dez. But I'm talking about the locker room. I think the locker room was very disappointed in Dez Bryant.
Because it's not just injury and it's mental toughness too. Is that what you guys are alluding to?
Yeah. Because when you move, it's different. You're not free. And now all of a sudden you're compensating. And now you're going to end up hurting something else. And now it's not your foot on the left foot. It's your right knee that's bothering you or your hip. And you got to put all that aside to go out there and make plays to help your team win. And so that was, and I was so afraid of letting my teammates down. There's nothing like being in that huddle and to have John Elway say, all right, T, go make a play for me. Or my offensive lineman say 84. Get us off the field.
Yeah.
There's no greater feat, not coming out the tunnel, not hearing the 85,000 fans scream your name. Nothing feels better than to have 7 or your linemen say, make a play for us.
All right.
Okay.
5 years, $70 million. Go make a play. 88. Come on, 88.
Dez hasn't been himself, and Stephen A. really wasn't himself with this last tweet, but this is the Stephen A. I know and love. Very upset at First Take right now. I told real Skip Bayless he was banned, all in caps, from discussion of the useless or relevant at Dallas Cowboys. The best part? Hashtag UGG.
UGG?
Yeah, UGG.
We got an UGG out of Stephen A. Smith?
UGG. Oh.
Well, we're going to get an unprintable out of Stephen A. with our next topic.
Yes,
really?
Stephen A., I'm telling you right now, you're going to be very upset. I tried to get this discussion banned, but
yeah, you did.
But Skip, like, he had to have it.
We are going to do this whether you like it or not, big man.
The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Iowa completed its first ever 12-win season and was 1 win away from the playoff. Stanford won the Pac-12 championship and was in the playoff conversation until the final week. It's the first ever meeting between the two. Number 5 Iowa, number 6 Stanford. The Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. Coverage begins New Year's Day at 5 Eastern on ESPN and on ESPN Radio.
Meanwhile, Cam Newton has obviously been a hot topic on the show, and now he can add 3-time Pro Bowler to his list of accomplishments. 5 of his teammates were picked as first-time selections, including one Josh Norman. And add that other guy we've been talking about, Odell Beckham Jr., to the list. Tom Brady, Malcolm Butler, and Gronk were among the Patriots selected. And, of course, other league quarterbacks like Carson Palmer, Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, and Russell Wilson are in there. But here's the real question. Skip, who was left out? Who's the biggest Pro Bowl snub this year?
Andy Dalton was the biggest snub this year.
Wow, I'm surprised.
Andy Dalton should have been.
Andy Dalton.
I'm about to get there. He should have been one of the 6 overall quarterbacks selected in place of Aaron Rodgers. The bad man was often this year just bad. And if I even look at the numbers comparing Andy Dalton to Aaron Rodgers, Andy Dalton's QBR is 73.1, Aaron Rodgers 70.3. Got him there. Yards per game, Andy Dalton 250, Aaron Rodgers just 241 this year. Percentage, Andy Dalton's clicking, man. 66% of his passes completed. Aaron Rodgers has plummeted to 60.8%. Are you kidding me? And over the last 8 games, the great Aaron Rodgers has completed only 56% of his passes, which started with that one atrocious game at Denver in which Aaron Rodgers threw for a grand total of 77 yards at Denver. And over the last 5 games, Aaron Rodgers has not eclipsed 300 yards passing, all in the 200s. And one of those games was helped mightily by a 61-yard Hail Mary at Detroit at the end of the game that was 5 yards underthrown. And Richard Rodgers just happened to be wandering around at the goal line and looked up and said, "Oh, wait a minute, there's a football. I think I'm going to catch it." And he caught it, and Aaron Rodgers was the mighty hero, golden boy.
Yep.
Because he underthrew the Hail Mary by 5 yards at Detroit. So this is the man who's going to replace an Andy Dalton, because Aaron Rodgers makes it on reputation alone, and only reputation, and Andy Dalton misses because of negative reputation of he always fails in the playoffs. And
in prime time.
In prime time, okay. But I will point this out. Andy Dalton obviously has one more win than Aaron Rodgers does this year, but even in one loss that he played against Carson Palmer at Arizona, a game I watched from start to finish, Andy Dalton was really good that night. Threw for 315 and 2 touchdowns with no interceptions, and they lost 34-31. That's a Pro Bowl performance to me, and I just didn't see many from that bad man that was Aaron Rodgers.
Well, it is a lot has to do with reputation. I think it goes to show how the coaches and the players feel about Aaron Rodgers. As opposed to Andy Dalton. Yeah, I get that. I mean, you could look half a dozen in one and 6 in the other. My biggest Pro Bowl snub was Allen Robinson.
Really?
I love Megatron. He's a great receiver, but he did not deserve to go this year. His numbers are not even comparable.
Well, then it's a reputation pick.
Absolutely. Now, I can make a case for Coleman, the safety for the Carolina Panthers, 7 interceptions, playing on a very good defense.
He killed Tony Romo on Thanksgiving Day, I can tell you that.
But you have 69 catches, over 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns, and you do not go and Megatron. Think about it. There are a couple of games that he had 1 catch. 1 catch. He doesn't even have 1,000 yards. So at the time of the voting, he didn't even have 1,000 yards. And he's going over a guy that has 1,113 touchdowns.
Okay, so we just want to see the stars shine. Is that what it is?
Yeah, but look, I get it. But no. It should not. The Pro Bowl should not be a lifetime achievement award. It's what did you do this season?
Yeah, I agree.
And I get it. Linemen, when we voted for linemen, okay, who went last year? This night, because come on, the Cowboys got 3. They got the
They
quarterback.
didn't deserve 3. I'll be the first to say they did not deserve 3.
They got the quarterback knocked out twice, and they can't run the ball like they did last year. The Cleveland Browns has 2 offensive linemen. Really? So now we're getting into a reputation thing.
Yep.
And that the Pro Bowl has been like that for a while, especially fans. Who has the biggest fan base?
Ratings,
who do we like? Who do we see? But Megatron, and look, I'm not taking anything away from, but this year, he did not deserve to go to the Pro Bowl. But I don't know why do you, look, people ask me all the time, you hate Tom Brady, what is it about Aaron Rodgers? What did Aaron Rodgers do to you?
Nothing.
Yeah,
I always give him his due.
No, you don't.
Yes, I
need
do.
to say one thing, Skip Bayless, because I didn't even know what this Aaron Rodgers topic is, because I never know what's going to happen in the meeting. I don't know who you're going to pick, where we're going, so I didn't know what this Aaron Rodgers block is.
You didn't?
No, I didn't. So when you said Andy Dalton, I knew, I know you well enough now. I'm like, this is fishy. Why does he have Andy Dalton's back? But now I get it. You had to throw a little shade.
Well, no, I didn't.
A little shade.
No, I mean,
at
but that's outrageous. I don't have any.
That is a little shade, Molly. That's a big old oak. That's a sequoia.
A little shade.
That's a
it
sequoia.
wasn't Andy Dalton love. Come on, Skip.
Hey, Aaron Rodgers has been woefully overrated by everyone, because do you want me to start into it? No, this doesn't apply.
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
You want me to start into Aaron Rodgers' playoff record since they won that Super Bowl?
No,
you want me, because it doesn't apply to this topic.
If we're looking at Aaron Rodgers and what he's been up until this year, yeah, he has not played as well as he has in the past.
Yeah.
But I can still make the case that he should go. But man, I mean, how does Allen Robinson with 13 touchdowns get left off for a guy that has 4, maybe 4, and he caught 3 in one game?
And we heard Andy Dalton's numbers, but we talked about it. It's the reputation.
And plus, Andy Dalton has his number 1 receiver, A.J. Green. But I don't like to use injuries. Look, the players, the coaches is a third, the fans are the third. So when you combine all those things together, I think just Aaron Rodgers has more of a following. The players and the coaches believe that he is a better player than Andy Dalton. Now the fans, we know the fans. He has all the commercials. He's dating a model. We know all that about Aaron Rodgers. But the players and the coaches, when they look at tape, I can assure you, they're more fearful of Aaron Rodgers than they are Andy Dalton.
Okay, I got that. But on performance, on numbers, Andy Dalton deserves to be on this squad above Aaron Rodgers. And I am going to suggest that my dear friend Stephen A. Smith deserves a check from Aaron Rodgers for being the PR director of his campaign for making another Pro Bowl.
Well, I can make a case that only the kicker for the Cowboys should go.
I don't even think any Cowboy deserves
it. No, Dan Bailey. I mean, look, Skip. You guys have won. How many games you won? 4?
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
So
I'm banned from talking about it.
Okay, so from
except in negativity. We can only discuss the Cowboys in negative terms. Okay. So I am.
So from now until 2016.
Because of the Saturday night robbery, we're not going to talk about it.
I don't want to hear you say foot or ball referencing the Cowboys.
Yeah, you got it.
So this new to First Take, we're starting to take callers. An online one, Stevie from Hollis, Queens, he's calling in right now. Stevie, are you there?
Don't you ever call me that, Molly.
I'm teasing you, Stephen A.
This is the one and only Stephen A. Shannon
Shaw.
One and only.
Appreciate you, bro.
Thank you.
Let me deal with that dude in that Zoot shirt.
Yeah, try it. Just try
it.
Shirt there. Let me tell you something, Skip Bayless. You know what? Listen. Listen. The day has ended up being a good day. I got a clean bill of health.
Good.
So I'm very, very happy. I was very happy up until the moment that I listened to you with your nonsensical dribble over the national airwaves speaking this blasphemy about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Let me ask this question for my man Shannon Sharp.
Let's get him involved to defend you.
I'm talking. Let me ask this rhetorical question to Shannon Sharp, okay? Hey, Shannon.
Yes.
Do you know of any quarterback in NFL history that has been successful throwing the ball to dudes that can't get open?
No.
That can't get open.
No.
Nobody. You got to get open. You got to create separation. You got to find a way to do what you got to do. Now, according to the statistics, NFL Scouting Combine, Pro Day, when you look at Devontae Adams, when you look at James Jones, when you look at Randall Cobb, a legitimate argument could be made that they were the slowest receiving corps that any quarterback has had to deal with.
Oh.
And that is what Aaron Rodgers has been dealing with. Nevertheless, he sits here today. Green Bay's going to the playoffs. Okay, the man's got 29 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. One is being protected. Guys weren't getting open, and you sit here with this blasphemy, having the unmitigated gall to sit up there and to disrespect this man, this bad man that he is. I'll admit it, he isn't the same as he was last year, but I blame those receivers more so than
it's the
him.
receiver's
You're
fault.
going to sit up there with a straight face and pick
dead
Andy
straight.
Dalton and not bring up Megatron like Shannon Sharp did. You should be ashamed. I swear, if I was in your face, I'd throw
Bring up
guys out
Megatron. What's he have to do with this discussion? Wait a second. Aren't you the guy who told me Aaron Rodgers is the greatest quarterback you've ever watched? Didn't you tell me that?
No, and Shannon Sharp, my exact words to Skip Bayless was, he's the greatest talent at quarterback I have ever seen in terms of his overall ability. I can't argue with the numbers yet because he doesn't have the numbers, because he hasn't been doing it long enough to compare to Brady, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, and others. But from a talent perspective, throwing inside the pocket, outside the pocket, the level of accuracy on his passes, the receivers he's throwing to, there is no question that this brother right here is a bad man.
Who had just a bad year this year. Flat out bad year. And you cannot swallow it and accept it and embrace the fact that your bad man was really just awful by greatest talent standards. Who cares who his receivers are? If he's that good, he would make them great. And he's not that good.
Shannon, I'm going to give you a last chance.
Recruit Shannon for help. You need some backup.
I'm going to give you a last chance, Shannon, because I'm a bit perturbed that you two agreeing with anything this man says. I'm going to give you a last chance, Shannon, to check this man. I can't wait till I get back tomorrow.
Stephen
you
A.
have really crossed the line with this one.
Stephen A., you know you're great when they say you had a bad year and you throw 29 touchdowns with 6 interceptions. That's when you know you're really great.
Yeah, Stephen A., you know when you're really bad is when Andy Dalton has a better QBR than you do, threw for more yards per game than you did, and completed far higher percentage, 66% to your 60.8%. Really?
That is not the issue.
Really?
That is not the issue. The issue is that you were willing to pick Andy Dalton as opposed to Megatron, Calvin Johnson. You know, I'm saying
what does that have to do with this? Apples and oranges.
Skip, I got to tell you this. You crossed the line so bad this time, I'm not getting you a Christmas gift. I'm not getting you a Christmas gift, Skip Bayless.
Well, you gave me one last year, and that's going to apply for that. That was like for the last 8 years.
You really crossed the line. I'm going to give my gift to Ernestine. I am so done with you right now.
She deserves it more than I do.
Really crossed the line,
all right. I've crossed the line so badly, I'm going to ask you one last question.
You hurry up.
Does Aaron Rodgers deserve to be on the Pro Bowl team ahead of Andy Dalton? I just want one word, yes or no.
Yes.
Yes, but those numbers, he threw for 77 yards at Denver, and he's better than Andy Dalton. That's, you know what? That's blasphemy for you to say.
Andy Dalton's got Giovanni Bernard and Jeremy Hill.
Oh,
Andy Dalton's got Eifert and Sanu. Andy Dalton's got continuity. Andy Dalton didn't have any injuries to deal with. No. I don't want to hear it. I'm going, Skip. I'm not getting you a Christmas gift. I'm telling you that right now. I can't wait till I get there tomorrow.
You know what?
He's punishing you with no Christmas gift.
You gave me a gift, and you don't realize it. You gave me the gift of getting your goat so badly now that you called into the show as I predicted you would. And I got you. I got you.
Stephen A., he did say when we talk about this topic, Stephen A. would call in. He did say that.
You know what?
He's like Josh Norman.
You know what? I ODB'd you. I ODB'd you, Stephen A. Way to go.
Stephen A. On a serious note, though, I'm glad your appointment went well, and we'll see you in the morning.
Yes, seriously.
Thank you.
Let this sink in, will you? DeMarco Murray averaged just more than 24 carries per game last season with the Cowboys, but had only 2 carries on Sunday night, 24 versus 2. He only gained 3 yards in the Eagles' 40-17 loss to the Cardinals. DeMarco has had just 21 combined rushing yards attempts, for 61 yards over the past 3 games. So let me ask you guys this. Who made the better choice about DeMarco, the Cowboys or the Eagles?
Well, although they haven't found an adequate replacement for DeMarco, the Cowboys made the better decision. I think Jerry Jones and that front office drew a line in the sand, saying this is what we're willing to go to. In the history, there's a threshold that a running back gets to, and then if he ever gets to this point, there's no coming back from it. Only one guy has ever been able to go to that point and come back. That was Eric Dickerson, and that's the 390. Once a guy gets to that number, you look at Eddie George, look at Terrell Davis, look at Jamal Anderson, look at Sean Alexander. You look at some of these guys that's gotten to that number. DeMarco Hurt had like 390 carries. He caught another 40 passes, played 2 playoff games. So he had almost 500 touches.
Yeah, and he's not a make-you-miss guy. He's going to run into people.
Right.
Yeah.
He's never coming back. And so
you don't think he'll ever come back?
He'll never. And I hate to say never. Okay, there's a 1% chance. They put man on the moon, Skip. So anything's possible.
So it's going to be a man on the moon shot that he gets.
Exactly. And so when you get to this, Skip, when I watch him run, Skip, I saw him run a couple of times. He gets the first down and he slides down. When have you ever seen a running back, Skip, get a first down and slide?
Okay, I don't know if he just lost heart for the scheme where he just didn't want to give himself to Philadelphia.
And then
take the punishment.
And on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, they don't let him carry the ball. They get stuff, and the guy standing on the sideline with his helmet on. He's frustrated. He took the money. I don't blame him, Skip. I don't blame him. I'm sure his agent told him, look, when you get to these numbers, you're never going to be the same again. If somebody's going to offer you X and they're only offering you this.
Okay, so you don't blame DeMarco.
Absolutely not.
Cowboys took the money too.
Okay, they did, but you can also make
$12 million guaranteed versus 24 guaranteed.
Okay, but can money buy happiness, to quote the old cliche?
No,
not in this case.
No, it buys convenience.
I tell you what, I'd rather be happy. I'd rather be sad driving a Mercedes than jumping up and down on the bus. That's just me personally.
You don't think DeMarco misses his life and times in Dallas, Texas with the Cowboys?
All things being equal, Skip, he would have liked to get that money from the Cowboys.
Yeah.
But that wasn't how it was going to play out. So you had to say one or the other. Skip, mortgages, private school tuitions, lifestyle moving forward.
He's got 2 kids now.
Yep.
So
Yeah. That's what money buys you.
All right, this is a first on First Take because Shannon Sharp just said something positive about Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys, that they made the right choice.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay, all right, thank you for that. But I have to defend Chip Kelly this much. Okay. He also won in part because he got DeMarco away, even though I don't think DeMarco would have been.
But how did how did he help them?
That's what I'm saying. He didn't help them at all.
Yeah.
You could argue he wouldn't have helped Dallas as much even as Darren McFadden did this year. Now, I got to make a point here. Darren McFadden, for the last 7 games, had 100-plus yards.
Yes.
Okay, that's decent. I'm not saying he's DeMarco, but it's ballparky enough that I don't think they suffered without DeMarco.
I don't believe they did. I don't believe they did either. And Skip, that's what you have to look at. You have to look at, okay, moving forward. We can't just look at next year. He has basically a 3-year guaranteed contract. So I got to look at $24 million guaranteed. That's obsolete now. Next year, you're going to be paying the guy $7-8 million for what? 200 yards in a season? How many yards did he have now? He's never going to be what we saw. So he was offensive player of the year, 1,800 plus yards.
Yep.
That's never going to happen.
Maybe Chip Kelly won't have to be around in Philadelphia to pay the price for the rest of the contract.
Does Washington beat Philly Saturday? Clinch the division?
Deshaun Jackson catches a big one.
You're going with Washington at Philly?
I'm taking the Redskins.
Hail to the Redskins?
I'm not. I'm going hail to the Eagles. I think the Eagles win at home just because it's home. I don't trust Kirk Cousins on the road.
First Cousins.
It always comes down
First
to
Cousins been doing good.
He has.
First Cousins
at home.
I'm taking First Cousins.
Yeah.
I got Washington.
First cousin.
I can't wait. Stephen A., I'm coming back for you tomorrow.
I'll give you that. Shannon, thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks all of you, too. Have a great day. Appreciate you listening to the podcast. Catch First Take weekdays at 10 a.m. Eastern, in the rear at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Jim Cantore, and here's something everyone should know. If you're driving and you can't see clearly for 1 second at 60 miles per hour, you can't see clearly for 88 feet. And a lot can happen in 88 feet. That's why Bosch created the Icon with ClearMax 365. It's a rubber technology for longer lasting performance, not found on any other wiper blade. Because like you, Bosch cares about what's ahead.
The College Football Playoff. Clemson, Oklahoma. Alabama, Michigan State.
If you're not ready for the playoff, you might not have a pulse.
Coverage begins New Year's Eve at 3 Eastern on ESPN and on ESPN Radio.